stronger, but only time's going to tell. I feel like a lot of this is going to come down to what playstyle Rogue is going to bring in this best-of-3 series, because at a best-of-3, you can throw a lot of curveballs. You do not need to consistently beat Classic's almost impervious mid and late game plan where he's going to get up to 6 gateways, blink +1 into Storm, and then use that to catapult him into a late game where he gets up to full Sky Toss. That is not what you have to do.
And, well, let's get this started in the bottom right here of Maganatha. It is Classic.
And spawning in the top left, the Blue Zerg representing Team Falcons, it is Rogue.
Oh, man. I'm a little bit wiggly. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what these guys want to pull off. Like, well, with Classic, I already pretty much know what he's going to do.
I think we all do, right?
Yeah. He's going to go ahead and open up with an Oracle. I would be very surprised if he used that weird Robo build that you said some guy in the ladder is crushing
the farmy,
with. The farmy, that's what it was. I can't remember that. Anyways, I would be super in a best-of-3. Like, I mean, I guess you could. I'd save that for Cyril, but you know, I think against Rogue, he'll probably feel a little bit confident, which I don't think he actually. Well, I mean, you want confidence, but you have to look back at that series and know you very easily could have lost. Even as far as Game 7, like if the Corruptors didn't click, you know, there was some mistakes on either side, and Rogue here, you got to really be careful and scout what he's doing.
We're seeing shades of peak Rogue, you know, from GSL Season 2. And I have to admit, seeing Rogue come back, you know, after military service, he wasn't quite as impressive as he was at his peak. And I mean, I say that, but it's basically impossible to be as impressive as Rogue was at his peak. And so I looked at the games going into them, and I wasn't really expecting all that much, but then after he defeated Hero in the semifinals, and then he went into Classic and he played the way that he did, pushing it all the way to the rubber match in game number 7, it was so exciting, because so often in PBZ, we look at the game from the Protoss perspective. What is the Protoss going to do to try and derail the Zerg?
Yeah.
I feel like Rogue is one of the very few players who it's like, actually, what is he going to do in the early game? How is he going to stop Classic? And it's such a fun role reversal to see.
Yeah. I actually think that the late game, you know, like when you get into these really slow, really long macro ZVPs like we saw with Cyril against Classic, for instance, I think it has gone a little bit towards Protoss. I know that it can definitely go either way, but it seems like the onus of engaging correctly is a little bit more on Zerg. And so that's why I think that Rogue is actually like a great pick for this tournament, because I think he's recognized that as someone who used to be a master of that type of play. And that's why he's mixing in these early kind of weird aggressions, like bringing back the very old Hydraling Bane. When's that from? 2017 or something, when we really saw that popping up? But yeah, I'm very excited to see if he tries that here against Classic.
Yeah, some nice early move here with the Adept getting a drone from Classic. Any kind of chip damage you can get in early against a player like Rogue is going to go a long way. And you can see Classic actually playing a little bit defensively here, adding in 2 additional gateways before taking the third base very often.
Yeah.
In the Korean meta PvZ, we are seeing 1 gate third base, of course, with energy recharge, able to fill up that Oracle with energy. It's a lot less dangerous than it was in the past, but to go for 3 gateways here, I wonder if we're actually going to see some more Adept Warp-ins.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why you'd go 3 gates. Like, I mean, I could see 2 into the expand to be safe, but you wouldn't go 3 defensively into expand. That doesn't seem to. Well, I mean, he makes it, but I think he's going to make Adepts and try to push a little bit, right?
Yeah,
that is one of the ways that Rogue has lost some games here and there. He hasn't been perfect on that type of defense.
Additional gas guys are now coming in for Classic. We'll see if he does go into 4 gases here. Is we're getting a little bit of damage done on that Nexus, and I think in total we might have, what, 5 or 6 Adepts already? And he's warping in more in places that Rogue can't see, I believe in the natural expansion, so it does seem like we are heading down the path of some kind of Adept timing attack coming in from Classic. And oh man, these Lings, they're not getting the best service area, but at least 2 of these Adepts gonna go down.
It picks off some. That Oracle very, very close to death there, just barely got out of range. And, you know, warping in a few more Adepts there at that third base. That +1 melee that Rogue has just been absolutely loving in this matchup, getting upgraded. And, you know, it's kind of funny. Like, I'm I gotta say, I'm surprised that we haven't seen a move out of those Adepts. You know, he's sitting back really, really defensively.
Yeah, it is a bit surprising. He's warping in 3 more right now. This is such a delayed timing, but you know, sometimes the way these builds work out is if you hit it at a timing that isn't good, sometimes it's just better because your opponent just isn't anticipating this anymore
100%.
as a possibility.
Yeah, every strong player has like windows in their mind of like, this is when this is gonna hit, and you kind of let up watching for it. You can't watch for everything all game long, you know?
Yeah, but seeing 3 more Adepts warp in here from Rogue, I think he's likely anticipating some kind of Adept timing attack. Doesn't know if it's going to be Glaives or not, but now Classic's hand is revealed. A ton of Adepts without Glaives going cross-map. Rogue, he's going to do a counterattack right now at the third base. That shield battery providing a lot of assistance to these probes, but the damage is going to come in from these Adepts.
Well, they do appear here and go after a Spore. The drones get pulled very, very quickly indeed. The Lings don't actually end up killing that many probes, although they did damage quite a few. The Adepts trying to shade in.
It's the Spore Door!
The Spore
Somebody
Door.
phone Tasteless! It's his favorite mechanism here. Oh man, the SimCity is perfect enough. The drones can move through and the Lings can move through, but the Adepts, I believe, cannot shade through.
That's
the Spore Door.
sick. I love the Spore Door.
That is
Let's
so
go.
clutch.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the
Did
Spore.
Tasteless name it the Spore Door?
Of course. Who else is going to call the Spore Door?
Of course. Well, now look at him. He's trying to be a Timmy 2 screens. Oh my gosh. Well, shades up into that main base. The Roach is going to chase him back a little bit here. +1 melee almost done for Rogue. You know, the Adepts are being very, very annoying. I don't feel like he's done critical damage with them, though. I think that Rogue is still fine.
Yeah, I think you want to get a little bit more done here.
It was a lot of
Classic.
Adepts. Like, he spent a lot of money on this in the early game.
All right, well, behind it, though, what Classic was able to buy is quite a bit of time back at home. He's saturating his 5th and 6th geysers now at that third base. 5 more gateways coming online, so it's going to be 8 gateways. Link +1, Storm about a third of the way done. And he's already even adding in shield batteries, he's adding in cannons. He has a worker lead. He didn't get too much done with the Adepts, but he slowed down the machine of Rogue quite a bit.
That is a good point. Rogue does have his 4th base up, and he's going to start droning that a little bit. We see the Hydralisk Den coming, also the Infestation Pit. I'm actually wondering here, it kind of looks like Rogue is just going to go into the late game, like a more standard late game that we haven't seen as much out of him. Like, yeah, he plays Lurker games sometimes into Hive, and he used to do it a bit more, but haven't seen it as much lately.
Yeah, it's almost reminiscent of Game 7 of the GSL Finals here on Naginata, where we had one of the most epic and drawn-out PBZs of the entire tournament. Of course, Classic was able to take the advantage from that one and the victory, but I feel like Rogue right now, with that 4th base coming online, being able to now eclipse Classic in the worker count, he's done a pretty good job of navigating his way through the mid-game despite kind of the quirky Adept timing that Classic threw at him.
Yeah, I think he's done a good job kind of holding on. He's up at 80+ drones, still popping a few out here and there. Hive on the way, Lurker Den coming up, getting his upgrades rolling. Now, we are going to have Classic move out with these Blink Stalkers and put on a little bit of pressure, but it doesn't feel like he really has enough to, like, threaten anything that's going to change the game too much.
He might be able to get some damage on this 4th base as Rogue has a lot of resources banked up, and also those Overlords going down is going to force a supply block in. Wait, how many Storms do we have on these Templar? Okay, one of them used already, but at least 6 more in the bag right now as Rogue's going to be going for this around. First Storm dodged really well, but the follow-up one is good.
Yeah, it does hit a couple of very good ones right there. There are a bunch of Hydras that are popping out right now, so hopefully, yeah, he does have at least one more Storm in there and will make a couple Archons. So starts to come forward now with the Roach Hydra, starting to push those Stalkers back a little bit. The drones pulling up here as well, and look at that. Classic with great execution, bringing up those Psy Storms and getting some pretty significant drone damage so far.
Yeah, this is huge. This 4th base is bleeding drones. 20 workers down already. Reinforcements of Hydraling coming in, but Rogue, he was gunning for the late game. He wasn't anticipating this timing coming out from Classic, and if it was just the Stalkers and the Oracles, this never would have gotten anything done, but those Templar bringing in the Storms.
Absolutely.
Just diffusing the threat of these +1 Lings.
Very tough position here for Rogue. Is he going to be able to hold on? You know, he's still got that Hive tech. He's trying to get into some Lurkers here. But realistically, I feel like he has to save this hatchery to have a chance in this game.
I mean, so much damage being done already. Another Storm, man. Every single Queen and the Lings getting hit by that storm. These +2 Zealots making quick work of the Lings, and Classic with a convincing game 1 win. That timing was so clutch.
It really was. That was a beautiful move out with the 4 High Templars coming up from behind, and Rogue just wasn't quite ready. I actually liked how Rogue was doing it because, you know, he defended the Adept push and was like, that's okay, I can go into a Hive and play a late game, right? Like, Classic kind of stole his thunder where he couldn't hit with the aggression, but then to move in with this attack, I feel like Rogue just wasn't anticipating it. I certainly wasn't, and I could see the whole screen.
Yeah, we saw the Blink Stalkers were like, okay, that can get a little bit of damage done with good micro, but how much are you really going to be able to kill? And then the Templar come in with like 7 or 8 storms or something completely ridiculous, and it just turns the math on its head. You know, I was a little bit worried for Classic for a moment because looking at the pace at which Rogue was getting the Lurker Den online, the Hive, there was probably going to be a window had Classic not attacked where, you know, the Stargates are a little bit too late, the Fleet Beacon's a little bit too late. Rogue can get some big damage done with those high-tech Lurkers, but no, he just has the keen insight. He's like, you know what, this is my time. I'm going to move out with these Templar. I'm going to get damage done. And now he is 1 match win away from defusing his toughest opponent from GSL Season 2.
Well, we're going to see what Rogue chooses to do this game. I think that Classic, you know, that was kind of a smart opener with the delayed Adept attack. I feel like just keeping that pressure on stopped a lot of the aggressive moves that Rogue might have wanted to do. You know, sometimes you get attacked earlier, you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm the defender. Anyways, we are getting into game number 2 here. In the bottom left, we have our Protoss GSL champion. It is Classic.
And he may have lost game 1, but he would love to come back and win game 2 and 3. It is the legend himself, Rogue. And I am so curious what he's going to do here in game number 2. I have to say, honestly, I wasn't expecting a straight-up macro game to start things off against the macro Protoss player in the world right now in Classic.
No, I certainly wasn't either. And I do wonder if that was the original plan or the Adepts kind of forced him into that, right? Because we weren't really to the moment where you had to decide yet. He was kind of in the droning phase when those moved out. You know, he had put a little bit of pressure on, but we're going to see here what Rogue has planned. You know, obviously, his winner bracket life on the line. You do not want to go to that loser bracket so quickly, although, you know, whoever does advance here is most likely going to have Serral in the next round, which is, like, the hardest opponent you can get.
Yeah, this latter half of Group B is just so unbelievably stacked. And, you know, for Classic in terms of development, it's looking like plain old Classic. He's going for that fast expansion. I'm expecting we will likely see the Stargate play again. I feel like Classic has done a very good job over the past couple of months of, you know, the bones of his builds, the skeleton of the builds, the macro style that he goes for is almost always the same, but he tweaks a couple of dials in every series.
Yeah.
Like in game 1, going for that Adept timing attack, it really an obtuse timing. Like nobody is anticipating that many Glaveless Adepts to come out, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why he's such a dangerous opponent to go against is, he does have this keen macro play that he could always fall back on, but the way he gets there is always just slightly different.
Yeah, Classic really is one of the greatest Protosses ever. You know, I think you can easily put him top 5 of all time. And he's always had such like a versatile style where he can play those really great defensive games. He can plan very well. He's actually, you know, he's got great control. Like, he can do rushes. We don't see that as often. But, you know, I love that he has just kind of like this basic opener where he's pretty much safe the whole time. He knows exactly how to defend. It's really beautiful to watch him defend some of these all-ins too. Like, if he pegs what you're doing, you're not going to break it.
And even when he isn't completely in the know about the Zerg's game plan, just the pace at which, started a Phoenix for a moment. I got excited.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I haven't seen a Phoenix opener in a bit. Okay.
Yeah, let's energy recharge some Phoenix. I want to see it.
Lift those queens for days.
Hey, man, energy recharge this entry. You got 2 more hallucinated Phoenix at the push. Who knows?
There you go.
But no, it's going to be the plain old Oracle now coming in. And we'll see what kind of mix-up Classic is going to go for here in game number 2. In game 1, it was that 3-gate Adept timing attack, but so far I believe this is just the 2nd gateway coming online.
a little bit more standard, right? I think we'll very likely see him throw the third Nexus down and just kind of get into Twilight Forge, as is normally the case. But yeah, the Oracle going to fly in, and let's see how that defense is. I feel like Rogue has really improved his overall defensive capabilities quite a bit.
Yeah, the Queen positioning has been really good. Even in that last game, we didn't remark on it too much, but being able to snipe one or two of those Oracles just with absolutely good insight into where they're going to maneuver across the map was very clutch from Rogue.
Now the two Adepts going to shade towards Rogue's base here. Queen's moving to intercept them.
Oh, he's going to allow it to complete. I feel like the body block could be pretty clutch here for Rogue. Oh,
yeah.
Does move one Queen out of position a little bit, so 3 drones in total going to go down. Rogue at the same time trying a little bit of counterattack, but these Oracles actually adding insult to injury, picking off the additional drones that had saturated that third base.
All right, if you're going to get 5 drones at this time, I'm fine with the 2 Adepts going down. I think that was very high quality. Another drone!
And if he sticks around, he might get 1 or 2 more here at this natural expansion.
Okay, saves that that one Oracle.
I think there is an angle where you might be able to perfectly position these Oracles. But you know, the fact that Classic full sent it out of there, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
All right, well, these Adepts are going to go down. Shield battery about to finish, so I think things should stabilize right now, but Rogue getting a little bit of counter damage in. Of course, this is just 2 gateways here for Classic, so he doesn't have quite the capability to rebuild these Adepts as fast as he would like, but I'm expecting this to go, actually, charge first from Classic is interesting.
Oh, well, Baneling Nest is going to meet him, so I'm not entirely sure how well that will work for him. It could end up backfiring, but yeah, it seems like Rogue is getting ready here for his own form of aggression. Now, is this just going to be Banelings trying to run in and deal some economic damage? Well, he's getting a lot of gases now.
Yeah, this is...
We doing like crazy Hydraling Bane here or something? I'm not...
I feel like it must be, right? I mean, Hydraling Bane is a very gas-intensive composition with Alera coming online and basically every gas being taken
Let's
right
just
now
go
from
Spire,
Rogue.
Man. Screw it. Let's go.
Oh, I would love that. Never in a million years are we going to see it, but I would absolutely love it.
Yeah. Well, he was one of the guys that really kind of made it popular way back in like 2017, 18, something like that. He kind of brought it back a bit, but it is going to be the Hydralisk Den. No big surprise there. He really has like Lingbane Hydra quite a bit. But Psystorm is already on the way, Robo already on the way, and we've seen that if Classic identifies this, he's so good at spreading the cannons, making enough cannons, and just destroying with Psystorm.
Yeah, with so many additional gates coming online, we're going to hop into the player point of view right now of Classic, as it looks like he's setting up to take a 4th base. And honestly, just looking at this position, against an opponent like Rogue, the mini-map is so dark. You never know what kind of build he is cooking up. Of course, he is going to be able to thwart these Lings from denying that 4th base, but the gold base being taken, Classic is unaware of this. He doesn't know exactly what the drone count is going to be from his opponent at this moment as well. And I'm actually wondering myself, how many drones are we going to have in total? Because with that gold base saturation, I wouldn't put it past Rogue to cut drones maybe like 70-something, a little bit lower than you would expect in a very deep macro game, and just go full pedal to the metal, Hydraling Bane.
Sure.
Let's spend those 6 Vespian Geysers and just make so many Banelings.
I got to tell you, he has a lot of High Templars ready. He's getting those additional Archons as well. So I feel like Classic is making a lot of the right decisions.
Does seem that way, but he's getting a little bit aggressive right now. There isn't Hydra speed just yet, but with so many Lings and Banelings morphing in right now, you got to be very careful here as Classic. You do not want to overextend. Ling Baneling, very good against a charge lock composition, especially a 10-gate charge lock comp like this, because we do not have Blink on the field yet for Protoss. It is all going to be on these Zealots, and if those Banelings get good connections, this battle can turn on its head in a hurry.
He's not going to be happy to see this. Oh my god, you can see how weak that truly is. Kind of surprised that he's moved out this aggressively, but you know what, maybe he can storm a little bit on the drones. I don't know if you even want to utilize storms to hurt economy, because honestly, with how many Zealots he's made, if he doesn't save storms, he's just going to die.
Yeah, it's a tricky position to be in right now. And I do like the move out coming in from Classic. It's reminiscent of game number 1 because, you know, this was the timing that basically thwarted him. But oh man, the Bailing's coming in on the Templar. Classic, I don't think he sees that he would have morphed Archons if he had. Instead, 3 Templar get taken out. He realizes now the damage done as his eyes. He was focused on this attack happening by the 4th base.
A little bit of juggling going down, but his Psystorm count has been absolutely pulverized. Rogue has some huge control in this game, up on 5 base, including the half gold, so he is mining very, very well. Infestation Pit coming up, getting ready to just bring that tech up to even another level. Classic, you know, the one thing I can say for Classic, he does have 4 bases, right? 4 base Protoss can make a lot of stuff.
It's interesting to me that we have more Archons morphing in. I think that he's feeling the pressure. It's only 4 Templar right now for Classic. That's going to be, what, about 5 Storms here in a minute as those 3 gather up enough energy? And he's even building out Immortals. This is kind of an old school PvZ style we're seeing, harkening back to the last meta with Charge Lot Arc and Immortal. And I don't think it's what Classic wants to do, but it's probably what he feels like he has to do to survive against this push. And that Archon, perfectly positioned there, is going to be able to absorb a lot of the damage. Still, 8 workers going down.
Oh, man. Yeah, more Banelings rolling in, shutting down some of these defenses. You can see, though, he is starting to get all that static D up. And on 4 base, like, you can afford to make a lot of cannons and batteries, and you get a lot of gas, okay? This is more Archons than I expected, though.
And more Immortals, too. Another one in production.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny-looking composition. You do have to be careful, because if the Archons start actually engaging the Hydras, it doesn't go very well. Obviously, Psystorm is kind of a counter to that, and that's the dance of a PvZ that's going to look like this.
All right, Rogue posturing again for an attack here at this 4th base. Couple of Hydras getting caught by the Stasis Ward, but Rogue's still going to push in. First Storm not really connecting with it very much there on the top side. Those Banelings going to hightail the retreat, and simultaneously an attack taking place at the 3rd base. Only 4 probes going down, and look at all of this static defense. I feel like I'm watching Neeb right now with the number of photon cannons getting thrown out of these expansions. We just need a ton of Tempest to assist them.
Yeah, really. We just saw him pull a Clem there with that Immortal rallied into the center, so unfortunately that does go down. Now, I mean, he's going to send some of the Zealots around. I do like that. I kind of wanted to see him do that before. He still had quite a few Zealots left over. But yeah, some of those counterattacks while Rogue is putting on the pressure could be very, very good. Obviously, if it gets caught, it's going to be cleaned up very easily with the Banelings, though.
This is so many Archons morphing in for... How many Archons do we have on the field right now? This is unbelievable. 8 in total. This is... A 9th one is morphing in right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird.
It's very odd. Now, there isn't a lot of tankiness to the army of Rogue. You know, should those Lings connect on the Archons and the Archons just vaporize them, the fight could turn in Classic's advantage very quickly. Positioning is going to matter a lot. But with 11 Lurkers on the field right now, Artosis, you know, Charge Lot Archon Immortal is one of the few ground compositions for Protoss where if you have the right angle of attack, you can actually go toe-to-toe with the ultimate ground army. But in a choke point like this one, the Lurkers just completely shut it down. And my eyes are going to be on the production tab. Will we have a fleet peak and a second Stargate come in? All right, it's already started. So Classic, he's not maxed yet. He has a lot of supply to make use of in terms of transitioning into the Stargate fleets.
Yeah, definitely getting ready for that. Trying to break through up here, but yeah, the Archons coming back will absolutely destroy that Bling Bane. You know, the Spire coming up for Rogue, he's definitely going to get ready. This is something that we have seen from him where he'll try to play aggressive, try to play aggressive, try to play aggressive, and then eventually go into that Greater Spire. But yeah, I don't know. Do you think that this one could turn into like one of these long, like 36-minute PvZs?
I feel like it has the potential, but with an army composition right now of Classic, as he's going to retreat here from this tremendous arc that Rogue has on the top side of the map, while dropping in the main base, I feel like the comp might just be too explosive on both sides. I feel like if there's going to be an exchange, someone is going to come out ahead, somebody's going to go out.
Yeah, it really does seem that way. The Lurkers going up to actually blow up the Nexus is a great move. Already stopping the mining from there and should be able to secure the kill as well. And the thing is, Classic can hardly get on the creep. It really feels like Rogue is taking complete control at this point.
Oh, but this is a brilliant angle of attack coming in from Classic. If he can get the full surround on these lurkers, they will be dead to rights. You see so many of them just targeting that one Immortal on the bottom side. The supplies, yes, they are still in Rogue's advantage, but Classic with such a cost-efficient trade. He did lose a base, though.
Yeah.
And look at the mini-map right now. Rogue, 6 expansions.
Yeah, and the mineral patches at the main and natural are almost gone here for Classic, so losing that base was very impactful. Yeah, he killed a lot of lurkers, but I still think that that was better for Rogue than it was for Classic.
I think I'm with you on that one. The Nexus going down. Rogue has done such a good job of just controlling Classic on 4 bases. Do not let him take a 5th. Do not let him unlock that 9th and 10th Vespene Geyser. In Classic, you can tell he's feeling the pressure. He's trying to break through right now, but Rogue with another counterattack at the natural expansion.
Some great play here from Rogue. He's going to be able to break through the front. And Classic coming back for a flank. Like, he might be able to clear this once again, but I feel like Rogue is still going to trade well enough considering the base count.
Yeah, the income right now, the differential, it is massively in favor of Rogue. This trade, I feel like, even isn't that bad for Rogue, all things considered. A lot of key units going down for Classic. He has been able to retake that 4th base, but 20 workers going down, I think, right here at the 4th or maybe even the 3rd. I'm not sure where exactly those fall. Maybe a mix of every single expansion because Rogue is everywhere. And look at the supply right now. 170 to 110. Rogue is taking yet another base at the 3 o'clock position. He comes in, confirms there is no mining. Artosis, I think we're getting closer and closer to a potential game number 3, but Classic has a little bit of fight left.
He does. He still has a strong army. Right, like that's kind of the main thing here. You know, that 4th Nexus is going to be mining, and you know, he's making the mothership. He's trying to make something happen. He has a decent amount of Psy Storm and all that. But Rogue is, like, don't forget, Rogue is good at late game. Like, he can play Hive Tech and stuff. So in he comes, just going to run up and try to blow this whole army up. A nice recall goes down, and he'll save the Tempest, but I think everything on the ground died there.
Yeah, there is nothing left on the ground right now for Classic. Half the supply of his opponent, and Rogue is just firing on all cylinders. You look at the income differential on the bottom, it's what, almost double the mineral income. Yeah. It's more than double the gas income right now for Rogue. He doesn't need to be cost efficient, but at this point, he basically just always is. His army is so refined. Usually in a PvZ, if you're going 15, 16 minutes, it's typically the Protoss that's going to have a little bit of an edge in terms of whose army is more developed, but we look at what we have from Classic. The army on the ground is bare bones. Yes, we have Storm, we have Archons, those are good units, but with just 6 Tempests in the air and basically no more firepower, Rogue can just completely push in to this 4th expansion. At the same time, these lurkers wreaking havoc at the 3rd.
And, you know, the lurkers, they are going to be able to blow up this Nexus. It's too bad here for Classic. I think with that Nexus going down, his chances of winning this game are down to 0. Like, yeah, look at that. He's got lurkers over here as well. Classic still trying to make something happen because he does have this very cost-efficient type of army. But Rogue he's done so many different things this game to get himself into this position. And I love this move. He's doing it again where he's running up with the lurkers and burrowing. It kind of reminds me when Dark started using Ultras against Air Toss to kill the High Templars with. Here he's just using lurkers. And GG is called. Beautiful game there from Rogue. Really, really fun game.
Yeah, that was a exciting map number 2. You know, I would have been disappointed if this series did not go to a Game 3 Artosis, but the fashion in which Rogue won that 2nd game, that was just an epic victory right now from our Zerg player. And I love what you said with these lurkers. I mean, he is just so aggressive with the positioning because he knows that his economy is that good. And also, I mean, in a spot like this one, with so little on the ground for Classic, it's like, yeah, the Tempest, they're going to kill a good number of lurkers. I'm going to take that L. It's worth it just to reset these high-tech units counts you have on the ground, basically back to 0.
Well, that's how Classic wins all his games, is just high-quality unit retention, right? Is he just keeps High Templars alive and continually gains value off of Storm, and you have more bases, but it doesn't matter, because his cost efficiency is through the roof. So if you're able to reset those, that's how you win as an aggressive Zerg here. I think it was really expertly done there from Rogue. He shows such a wide range of play. I think that's what is so difficult to really pin him down and figure out how you're supposed to beat him.
It's very fun to watch. And in that game, it almost reminded me of the ZVT meta that we had last year at EWC. And I mean, even sometime before that, when ghosts were only 2 supply, where a lot of Zergs, they would look at it from the perspective of, okay, how do I prevent the Terran player from taking the 5th base? Because if they get to ghost mech on 10 Vespene geysers, it's not an easy position to win from. And Rogue had kind of the same approach to that game here versus Classic. It's like, you know what? You can take those 4 bases. That is a problem, but it's really the 5th base, where if Classic is able to take that, he's able to get those extra Vespene geysers and able to safely navigate his way to a maxed army that has unlocked all of the pieces of the puzzle, where the game becomes, you know, a Herculean task to win. And in any case, Game 3 has loaded up here on Incorporeal. Spawning in the bottom right, the reigning GSL champion, it is Classic.
And in the top left, making a beautiful game in game number 2, it is Rogue.
So fun to see him take that really fast 4th base to the gold after really taking like a hit on the chin with that double Adept and Oracle combo leading to what, like 5 or 6 drone kills or something like that, plus some lost mining time. I just love him going immediately for the gold. He's like, you know what, we have less workers. How do we try and find a way of closing the gap a little bit? And there was a little bit of fortune smiling him a little bit, because Classic went for the charge lot opening, which he typically doesn't go for. It's almost always 6 gates or so, plus 1 ground weapons, Blink, and then Storm on 3 bases. He went for charge into Hydraling Bane, which is always kind of a bad feeling right there as Protoss. I would be surprised if we saw that again here in game number 3. But Rogue just did not skip a beat. You know, he took every possible advantage that he could take, and he did not let them go to waste, just ramping up the pressure. I am so excited to get into this map number 3. I feel like we're probably going to see something like Hydraling Bane. I almost, coming into this game, or this best of 3, I should say, I almost fooled myself into thinking we're going to see some kind of really cheesy, crafty timing attacks from Rogue. But he has just gone toe-to-toe with Classic in the macro game.
Yeah, he's done a very good job of it. Like, that's the thing. Like, he uses a lot of cheeses. So I think especially after that GSL Finals, where he was playing overall a bit more aggressive, people might look at him and be like, yeah, you know, he's so good at making strategies. He's so aggressive. And the thing is, you can think back and think of plenty of games in his career that are like that. But he literally was the best late game Zerg for years. Like, he was you know, top of the heap. So the guy can really play all the different positions. He can play all the different strategies. He's honestly one of the best strategy makers we've ever had as far as planning out a series. So, like, I don't know what to expect here. Because, like, a player like this, and, you know, a champion that has won countless tournaments, how can we even look inside their brain as to what they think is appropriate here?
Yeah, it's kind of a Pandora's box. You just do not know what you're going to get when you open up against Rogue.
He started a Phoenix again, and he's not canceling this time.
Oh.
Because he started last time, and then he canceled, and now he's started this time, and he's not canceling. So he actually wants a Phoenix.
This reminds me a little bit of the way that Showtime sometimes approaches PvZ, where he will go like Oracle, Phoenix, Oracle, and the Phoenix's only job is to keep the Zerg player in the dark. And so he's immediately going to be gunning for this Overlord that is spotting the gases of the natural expansion. And I wonder if that's just because he knows this is a target, or if he's going to be trying to hide something, because
could be.
The Phoenix, it's not going to get much value unless you build a lot of them, and people almost never do. The real value that's gained is that Zerg is in the dark. They don't know what to expect.
Yep. And, you know, sometimes you can just get reactions even though you're going to play completely normal from there, you know? So an Oracle does come out second. See if he gets much more damage with the Phoenix. You know, the Phoenix can do some good quality scouting as well, so I like seeing it. Like, you know, Classic has always been, like, a step ahead of the Stargate meta anyways. Like, this is the biggest... He was, like, the biggest Void Ray user for years, where no one else was making any Void Rays, and he'd make them in almost any matchup.
All right, Phoenix now coming in, and it's basically ushering all of the Overlords back into the base of Rogue, and that might lead to some opportunities for Classic with, you know, mitigated Zerg vision to actually get some damage done with these Oracles. Very cool opening.
Evolution Chamber coming in. And we'll see. I'm sure he'll start the melee attack. That's the only thing he's been going for lately. And okay, he does end up lifting one. So this is going to allow him to get a little bit more damage with the oracles than sometimes you get. I mean, 3 kills is not too bad. You know, I remember we used to joke for a couple years ago where it was like, yeah, he made oracles, so he's going to get 2 drone kills and pull back. You know, but he's got 3 here, and you know, the Phoenix can do some fun things like that, like just remove a little bit of DPS for a moment.
Yeah, very often in PvZ, you kind of look at 2 oracles, and against most players, you'll be like, okay, well, 2 or 3 drones are basically guaranteed. Any more than that, and Protoss is happy.
Yeah.
We also have something we call sort of the Zerg player, the Swedish Zerg player calls it, we call it the Ricky roll, where if it's like more than 7 or 8 drones go down, he just leaves the game. As we have a lot of Adepts actually coming now into this 3rd base. They are shading into the 3rd expansion. Are they going to go, oh, actually they're shading into the natural expansion. He's going to allow that to complete, but there are so many Lings here, Artosis.
Yeah, very, very quick surround. So only ends up getting 3 drones on that pass. So 6 drones total. You know, he's saved most of his units. But I still feel like Rogue is deflecting reasonably well considering the different attacks that have been thrown at him.
Yeah, those Adepts, you're hoping to get a lot more done than Classic actually was able to accomplish with that timing attack. But, you know, the way that Classic is developing right now, you know, we were wondering whether he might do something different because the Phoenix is denying so much vision from the Zerg. Oh, actually missing that drone. Should still be able to get it. Indeed he does. I'm curious if Classic is going to go for the same mid-game timing attack that he opted for in Game 1 and Game 2, where, you know, he has 6 or 8 gateways coming online. Storm is done, either Charge or, in this case, Blink is done, and he tries to get damage accomplished while Zerg is going into Hive Tech. Because Rogue is still on Lair.
Yeah, and he just started Aspire, by the way, which I find interesting. It feels a little bit early for him, but we'll put a pin in that and just kind of wait. He did get a bunch of gases and everything. And in fact, he's already started the gases over here, which is kind of a tell that he wants to maybe actually go into Mutalisks. I think that would be really cool.
That would be awesome.
You know, if you maybe show a few Hydras, then your opponent might be like, okay, it's Lingbane Hydra, something like that, where they see the Hydraless Den, right, which he did already make, and he is making a few Hydras here. But, you know, if he were to go into Mutas, like a 4 to 5 base Zerg going Muta-Ling Speedbane, like, that turns to base trade against a Stalker type composition almost always.
And Classic, even though he's usually very rigorous about throwing down static defenses, I'm sure we're going to see it at the 3rd or the 4th base in just a moment right now. He usually goes a little bit light on the static D in the main and the natural, so
yeah,
you know, it's possible that should we have a ton of mutas get queued up here from Rogue, as he's sitting at about 500 resources apiece, he's, I think, deciding exactly how he wants to do this, and yes, he does queue up those 6 mutas. These could just go into the main and the natural while Hydraling Bane hits the front bases.
That's kind of a cool idea.
Just wreak economic havoc on the Protoss.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's making some more mutas here as well. Like, Classic has no idea about it right now. I'm really excited to see if he makes any more mutas. Look at this, 10 mutas. Okay, so he's made some Hydras. I think he's mostly faking. Okay, did he actually see that, though?
I think
that was like an insta pullback. He might have seen it. We'll see. He starts... Okay, more cannons are being started right now. Archons are being made, so I think he realizes that mutas have been made now.
Yeah, I think he did spot it.
And that's big.
A fraction of a second, but there's no pylon here in the natural expansion that could actually throw down cannons near the mineral line. It's mostly just the main, the 3rd, and the 4th that are protected here. And Rogue, it does look like he is posturing to go straight into that main expansion. Meanwhile, also going into the infestation pit, a lot of upgrades coming online. There is a photon cannon. The mutas can take this out.
Okay, a lot of Stalkers being warped in here. But the Muta's gonna try to fly away. They're getting like a few kills. Little bit underwhelming, I feel like, so far, but he gets the Oracle, continues to fly around a little bit. He doesn't quite hit that secondary attack you were talking about, which I think is a decent idea here, but he actually doesn't have Baneling speed yet, which you definitely need for that attack.
Yeah, I think instead, actually, more mutas getting queued up. I am so surprised. I thought this is kind of, you know, you make 7, 8, 10 mutas, you try and get some damage done, you try and keep them alive, but then you play the game off of that. You know, you go into hide, you go into lurkers.
Well, again, if you do actually commit to speed Bane Ling Muta, like, it used to be a comp. Like, I haven't seen it in a long time, but but it used to be a thing, and you know, Stalkers don't counter it that well.
Yeah, usually you want range Phoenix, and we do have the second Stargate, the Fleet Beacon coming online.
Yeah.
But is Classic going to anticipate this? Because, I mean, even you and me, we can see everything. We can see the whole picture, and we're scratching our heads about this.
Well, look how many Banelings he's making. So part of the strat is sometimes to try to blow up Stalkers, but the thing is he still has a lot of Hydras too. It's a very strange-looking composition. Like, this is not a balanced comp to have 12 Mutas, 23 Hydras, 28 Banes, 36 Lings. It's like, okay, tell me more. I want to see what you're doing.
Usually you lean a little bit harder in one direction, whether it be Muta. Oh, he's actually going to snipe the Templar. Two of them going down. He doubles back, gets the third. It costs him every single Muta, but now there's only one more Storm available right now on this High Templar Rogue. Is he going to continue to press the attack?
I'll tell you what, he's been watching too much StarCraft 1. It's completely normal in that game, but gets blown up very quickly indeed. Continues the attack forward. But there is plenty here to hold off these Hydras.
Yeah, it feels like it's starting to peter out, but that was a lot of very expensive units getting taken down by Classic. Rogue is going to maintain a supply lead. Classic actually paying a lot of respect to this, going for, I believe, Phoenix Range right now.
Yeah.
Adding in additional Immortals as well. And I love the playstyle coming out from Rogue. But against the static defense of Classic, it makes things so hard. You know, I mean, you have so many photon cannons at that fourth base, at that third base. It is very difficult to find an angle. And carriers now starting for Classic. Hive finishing up for Rogue.
What a fascinating game this has been. For those of you that only watch StarCraft 1, like, Muta's sniping High Templars is the most common thing you ever see in StarCraft 1, not StarCraft 2. So to see that kind of used here by Rogue is a really interesting idea. I did feel like Classic won out on that overall. I really do feel that way. And the fact that he's able to get into his carriers here, look at this, he's adding the forges. He is on that 4 base. His economy is looking really good at 83 probes. But lurkers are being made. The Hive tech is up. Like, Rogue still has a lot of play in this game, and he has a ton of bases and really good creep spread.
To me, I think it's all going to come down to whether or not Classic can secure a 5th base, because I agree with you, that probably was better for Classic in total, but Rogue is basically his entire half of the map.
Yeah.
And in a situation like this one, where Classic just burned so many resources, I mean, a lot of Templar got picked off, Archons died, I think even a lot of Stalkers got taken out. For Classic to re-max and also have a bank behind that, I don't think his army is actually going to be as refined as he would hope for it to be.
That's a good point.
And so it's going to come down to, I think, this 5th expansion. And on Incorporeal, yes, you do have that bottom left base you can take. Classic trying to actually go for this one over here at the 3 o'clock, which almost kind of like the way a Terran player would expand with a planetary fortress to put pressure on the Zerg. It could backfire on him. And actually, he's being caught out of position. These lurkers are going to go straight into the natural. They might even be able to get +1 air weapons.
But we can see in the little picture-in-picture here on the right side, base is picked off by some charge zealots. So that's a little bit of a problem. Rogue comes up, cancels that kind of forward nexus position as well. These two dealing a lot of damage to each other.
Yeah, but with nothing right now to assist those lurkers, yes, they were able to get a lot of infrastructure damage done at the natural expansion, and +1 air weapons getting delayed is going to hurt Protoss quite a bit, but that is a lot of lurkers to lose, and simultaneously the Zealots in the main base here for Rogue, it seems like they are likely going to get cleaned up, but the angle's pretty good here for Protoss.
Man. Yeah, he's actually getting a lot done with those Zealots. Oh my god, in that main base. The lurkers are still dealing a lot of damage as well. I can't even believe this. This is so crazy back and forth. Classic supply definitely eclipsing Rogues at this moment. Some Vipers being made here, though. You know, a little bit of an add-in. Maybe he can start yoinking forward some of these carriers or something like that. But he took quite a bit of damage during all this as well.
Yeah, this game has gotten very scary now for Rogue. Those natural expansion, or the lurkers that push into the natural expansion of Classic were a very expensive loss, and I think one that probably wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
And now the Skytoss fleet here for Classic. I mean, we have so many carriers on the field right now. What, 4 in total? I think a 3rd Stargate, but 6 in total. Oh my goodness. You don't even need +1 air weapons at this point. You have so many with no Carapace upgrades here for Rogue because he loves to favor, you know, +1 melee attack, as you pointed out, +2 range attack.
Yeah. And I got to say, the re-wall that Classic did after he lost the wall, like, Rogue was trying to abuse what he did get from the lurkers, which was knocking the wall down. And Classic is just too on top of his defense everywhere.
And now he has this staging ground at the 3 o'clock position where he's trying to slowly get up photon cannons and shield batteries. And if Classic becomes entrenched at that 3 o'clock position with so many carriers, I'm not sure how much Rogue is going to be able to get done to deal with it. Unless we have some fantastic Viper control, they're able to get the yoinks off and dodge the Templar, which against a player like Classic is so hard to do.
You know, his finger's going to be hovering over that F button, man, just waiting for those Vipers. Because it really feels like that might be the one way to peel apart this army, is you really do have to get some great abducts down.
Well, 9 carriers.
Yeah, it is a huge carrier army right now.
In a straight-up fight, I almost feel like the carriers just beat the Corruptors. it is kind of absurd. With all these Archons, too, and the Templar, Classic, he's got a fighting composition.
I do like that there's a lot of lurkers in here, though. Maybe he can blow up the ground army. Like, if you could clear the ground army away so that extra splash damage isn't on the Corruptors, it gives Rogue a much better chance. But definitely the army of Classic looks a lot better right now.
All right, pushing in again. Already one hatchery has gone down. The Lurkers are going to siege in. And the Corruptors charging in for the attack. We do have detection right now. Parasitic bombing also getting thrown down. A lot of the carriers actually being taken down on the front line, but those Corruptors, they're so low on HP. I think the trades right now have been very good so far for Rogue, but still Classic. With this many carriers remaining, I feel like that was basically the best fight Rogue could possibly take in that position. He must defend the hatchery at 9 o'clock, but Classic's army is just so strong, Artosis.
It is. I like the parasitic bombs he threw in there as well. I thought he was going to play a slower game there behind like a spore wall, that type of game where you're trying to fish things out. But like, honestly, Classic's too good at that type of game. I like this approach where he's like diving. He's diving with the lurkers to try to blow up the ground army. He's diving in with the Corruptors and, during the mayhem, trying to throw down those parasitic bombs. So I definitely don't mind. He's continuing those upgrades, but so is Classic. Classic taking bottom left at this time as well. Another little attack in, a little lunge forward there to get rid of the cannons. Yeah. And he might be able to blow up this base before Classic can do anything. Yeah, Classic just going with a counterattack.
Yeah, he's just going to trade bases. He knows he's expanding into the bottom left. This hatchery, or this Nexus, excuse me, will go down. And Classic, with his speed, he might actually be able to take down 2 bases. In fact, yes, he is going to set his eyes on this triangle base here.
It looks like we have a counterattack going through the middle of the map as well here from Rogue. So he might be able to blow up bottom left. It looks like there's very little there right now. So this is a really smart move to send the Lings. If he can get that, he's going to still have chances in this game. But I don't know. Is this army going to get down here? No, I think the Lings do get it.
Yeah, with Adrenal. The Nexus goes down so quickly. It's kind of absurd. That's even with +1 shield.
Yeah.
All right, more Corruptors now in production. And Classic, he's basically been reset down to 4 bases, which we were talking about earlier can be a difficult position for Protoss, but Rogue also lost his expansions. He's also reset down to 4 bases, and somehow things have found their way to equalize. I still give the advantage to Classic just with the army composition that he's got.
Yeah, he definitely has a better army comp here, I would say, as well. But, Rogue has been pretty good with the aggression. The thing is, if he had 1 more mining base, I'd feel okay with Rogue. But as is, like, look at that army, man. That is not the right army.
Yeah, that army even has 2 changelings zealots, which I think Classic is not quite noticing just yet. And I'm not even talking about these 2. There were 2 earlier that were following the entire Sky Toss. But yeah, here they are. And
they're
Classic,
Protoss units. How is he supposed to tell, man?
Yeah, of course.
That's the whole point.
But Rogue has basically the full picture. Finally, now the changelings do get cleaned up, but I love this use of changelings, just being so proactive, because the next fight is really going to tell the tale. And Classic, he is gunning for it. Okay, Abduct coming in. We do have the feedback, but a little bit too late.
Yep. So good Abduct. I mean, anytime that you can pick off any unit right now, it's going to be nice. But, if the slower this game goes, the better it is for Classic. So, like, Rogue, oh my god, the Time Warp, the Psy Storms, it just looks brutal.
There isn't even really an angle for Rogue to get the Abduct off right here on this army. Oh, the Storm's just massive right now on the Hydralisk. Neither of the players have a bank to rebuild these armies. It's all going to come down to this. Corruptors are diving on the carriers, but they cannot take them down. Classic standing too strong, and man, Rogue pushed it all the way into the end. But Classic, the reigning GSL champion, will emerge victorious here in this best of 3.
Wow, you can really tell though just how strong both these players are from that series. You know, Rogue really brought the heat. He was very, very close there at times to possibly taking down Classic. And like this part of the bracket is just crazy because Classic, I would imagine that Serral is probably going to beat Hero Marine. What a match that's going to be. You can see how strong this guy is against Zerg.
Yeah, that was just a tremendous PvZ. Well worth the match of the day, in my opinion, as it did not disappoint. And honestly, even for Rogue to be able to work his way back into a position like this one, the early and mid game were not that good for him. Yes, he did catch those Adepts, but I was very, very impressed. After the Muta-Ling tech switch didn't quite work, that he was able to pull the game back.
All right, well, let's go up for an interview and see how he's feeling.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am here with Classic and with Maddox to provide translation.